This September, a video emerged purportedly showing Russia's Sukhoi Su-57 stealth fighter jet flying along the border with Ukraine. In the video, the aircraft can be seen performing a series of maneuvers, and the clip ends by showing the fighter soaring vertically upwards. The Sukhoi Su-57 is one of Russia's most powerful aircraft, and in today's video we'll be taking a look at why this super aircraft is so feared. Stay tuned! Before we begin this video, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the bell for the latest notifications and updates. That way, you'll never miss a video from us. With that said, let's not waste any more time and get right into today's content. Russia's Sukhoi Su-57 is one of only 4 operational 5th-generation fighters anywhere on the planet, keeping the rare company of China's Chengdu J-20 and America's Lockheed Martin F-22 and F-35. Each of these fighters was developed with different specialties in mind, but share a collective focus on a few specific design elements that have come to define their generation of aircraft, including stealth and data fusion capabilities. While the Su-57 might not compare to the other 5th-generation aircraft, it's still quite powerful. However, it had to face quite a few obstacles. Let's take a look at the history and the Russian fighter's capabilities. The history. The long road to the first Su-57 taking to the skies began in 1979 under the former Soviet Union, with plans to field a next-generation fighter that could enter service in the 1990s. However, the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 practically halted progress on the program, leaving America's F-22 Raptor to claim the title of the first stealth fighter unopposed with its first flight in 1997. Real development on the modern fighter program began once again in earnest in 2002, with America's F-22 set squarely in the program's sights. By 2007, Russia's PAK-FA program, which was short for Prospective Aeronautical Complex of Frontline Air Forces in Russian, was once again steaming towards fielding a real stealth fighter. India, keen to have their own 5th-generation aircraft, agreed to team up with the Russians to continue development and begin procuring what would eventually become the Su-57, but the partnership wasn't to last. In 2018, the Indian government signaled their departure from the program despite Russia's promising claims about their first batch of prototype fighters. And while India's official reasons didn't suggest problems with the program itself, unofficially, rumors swirled that India had given up the PAK-FA program because the fighter it produced simply wasn't stealthy enough to survive in highly contested airspace, alongside a list of other concerns. Nonetheless, Russia persevered. A total of 12 prototype Su-57s were constructed for testing and assessment, and just months after India backed out of the program, Russia's defense ministry signed a contract to purchase the first 2 serial production Su-57s, slated for delivery in 2019 and 2020. Russia had already placed their prototype fighters in operational service, deploying them to Syria for little more than headline fodder and a few promotional photos. But these first 2 production jets were to be something more. They would not only represent Russia's top-of-the-line fighters, they would be the nation's first ever production stealth aircraft. Now, the program was always mired in controversy. In December 2019, just days before the Russian military expected to receive their first serial production Su-57, the program was met with yet another dramatic setback. Sukhoi, the firm tasked with developing the Su-57, was conducting flight testing with the fighter to ensure it met the requirements for delivery when the aircraft crashed just 111 kilometers from the airfield it departed from. The pilot, a civilian contracted with Sukhoi, ejected and survived, but the aircraft was a total loss. In the days that followed the crash, Russian investigators would cite a failure of the tail's control surfaces for the incident, limiting the pilot's ability to control the aircraft. According to Russian media outlets, the aircraft exploded upon impact with the ground. It was a significant setback for a fighter program that had already spanned nearly 5 decades in its various iterations, and a huge blow to Russia's fragile reputation as a global military power. Shortly after the crash, Igor Ozar, the CEO of Sukhoi, resigned from his position. That crash wasn't the only problem with the Su-57, however, as the Russian government had ordered as many as 76 of the stealth fighter jets. However, the engine that were designed specifically for the aircraft's stealth role were delayed, and instead, the planes came fitted with the Saturn AL-41F1 engine, which are also found on the 4th generation Su-35S. Not only does operating an older engine limit the performance of the Su-57, it also has a detrimental effect on stealth. And it's not just with stealth and propulsion that the Su-57 continues to lag behind the competition. One of the aircraft's selling points also has been its sensor suite and advanced avionics, with the Russian government claiming the fighter is capable of full 360-degree sensor coverage, much like the flying supercomputer F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. To date, it does not appear that any such system is online in the Su-57, with the RAND Corporation analysis positing that sanctions placed on Russia after its military annexation of Crimea in 2014 have further hindered the system's development. So what is the Su-57 really capable of? The capabilities. Now, it's quite difficult to say what the Su-57 is capable of, thanks to the secrecy of the program and the highly controlled nature of Russian media. What we do know about the Su-57, however, is obtained through analysis of open-source information, news reports, images, and video of the aircraft. That is to say that any concrete breakdown of the Su-57's capabilities should be taken with a grain of salt. Those who claim to know for sure what the aircraft can do are relaying numbers and data provided to the public by Sukhoi by way of the Russian government, who, like the US, is counting on foreign sales of the fighter to offset the high cost of the plane's development and production. In other words, Russia has at least two motives to present the Su-57 as more capable than it is: to present an image of military might in the face of Western opposition, and to entice potential buyers who want a stealth fighter but aren't allowed or can't afford to pursue the F-35. But despite the marketing smokescreen, there are a number of things we can glean about the Su-57 and its capabilities. While exact figures regarding the radar cross-section of the Su-57 aren't available, the aircraft design is indeed stealthy. But stealth isn't something you have or don't have, it's really more like a spectrum. Aircraft can be stealthier or less stealthy than others based on a variety of variables ranging from production tolerances in the fuselage construction to the direction from which they're being observed. The Su-57 stealth is hampered by Russia's struggle to bond body panels of the aircraft as tightly as necessary to inhibit a radar return, and by its modified fourth-generation engines. The Su-57 ranks last in stealth among its fifth-generation counterparts, but that doesn't mean its stealth capabilities should be utterly dismissed. Again, in combat, it's not about whose fighter has the smallest radar, cross-section, or infrared signature. It's about leveraging these platforms for maximum effect. And the Su-57 wasn't designed to serve as stealthy scrapper like the F-22. The Su-57 may not be the stealthiest or most technologically advanced fifth-generation fighter on the market, but it's still a product of Russia's long and storied history of developing highly capable combat airframes. The same firm responsible for the Su-57 also produces incredibly capable fourth-generation fighters like the Su-35. So it comes as little surprise that Russia's first stealth fighter is no slouch in acrobatic performance. The Su-57's 3D thrust vectoring gives the fighter a huge degree of maneuverability and is far superior at executing acrobatic movements at lower speeds than its non-thrust vectoring competition in the F-35 and J-20A. Thrust vector control allows the pilot to orient the engines of the fighter independently from the fuselage, making extremely sharp turns possible, or even flying forward while pointing the nose and weapon systems down at an opposing aircraft. Even the F-22 Raptor, widely seen as the most capable air-to-air fighter on the planet, is limited in its thrust vectoring capabilities in comparison. It's worth noting, however, that the sort of acrobatics thrust vectoring allows for scrub a great deal of the fighter's speed, making it an approach to air combat that isn't prized by all air forces. The Su-57 also boasts the second highest top speed of the class, topping out at Mach 2, just a few hundred miles per hour slower than the F-22. The Su-57 is therefore quite a powerful aircraft, and it remains to be seen how it performs in the war in Ukraine. Will it live up to its expectations as a superjet? Only time will tell. That's all for the video. Hope you enjoyed watching this one. Thanks for watching.